That was a weird
It was
one.
quite even, and then it suddenly wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah, what the hell's that about?
I think I could be wrong, because I've been wrong many times, but it felt like Wildcard thought that they were getting shellacked for some reason.
I think there was
some playing.
There were some shellacking thoughts.
Yeah, I agree. So hopefully they have looked at the replay and realized that it was in fact a very even game.
I mean, they should be very familiar with the Gaben shellacking tier list. They should feel when they're in one.
That's right. Well, that wasn't a Gaben.
No.
That was below a Gaben.
Way below a Gaben.
That was probably just
that wasn't even a shellac.
That was probably a mega.
No, it wasn't even a no, not
in their mind.
You're losing it in their mind.
In their
okay,
mind.
That's a different tier list altogether.
They shellacked themselves out of that game.
They really did. They Gaben shellacked themselves.
Yeah.
Right out of there.
That was a losing mentality.
Yeah.
So we'll see if they're able to turn it around here. So talk to me about these lineups. We have the Faceless Void. Actually, the one I want to talk about is probably the one most people think is boring. Puck versus DK, but this time the players have swapped sides.
They have.
So Esk better win this mid matchup, or it's not going to look good.
That's right. It's going to be very embarrassing, and Quinn probably did this out of spite.
Yeah, maybe.
I could imagine. I was in a pub with Quinn, and it was one of the ones he did end up going AFK.
Of course.
The reason for that was because he said that on the enemy team, there was Faceless Void. We had a carry TA, and he said, at this point, that hero beats our carry. We cannot win this anymore.
Oh.
And it sure felt that way in the fights. And by the way, when he does go AFK, at least when I'm playing with him, he'll usually, you know, have the courtesy to, hey, do you guys care? And then I said, yeah, I don't give a shit.
Oh, that's very nice of him.
Yeah, and then Sammy Boy's in the game. He's like, no, let's keep playing. They didn't. He just needs one confirmation.
Was he playing Puck in that game?
I think he might have been the TA. I think that probably makes
like, all right,
a
guys,
lot of sense.
I'm not going to be able to take this anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you mind if we just let it end?
But what I'm saying is, late game, Faceless Void versus TA, Faceless Void wins.
Okay.
That's a winning matchup, according to Quinn himself, and who's on the other side.
Yeah.
So they know this.
Yeah.
They know this going into that. They got a snowball.
Yeah, well, they've had not much issue doing that this season in general, as they are undefeated.
Yeah.
One thing we should note is that Divide Llama does get his Timber Saw, which I think is clearly his best hero.
So Quincy knows that he's going to take this.
Yeah, as we're going to see Timber Chain get canceled there by the Nightmare. Alex got quite low to the meld, but you are taking damage as well. I mean, how is this as a Timber Saw game in general?
Death Prophet has one of the highest win rates in the game versus Timber, so that's a fairly strong matchup for Quincy. I also think Bane probably has a decent win rate because of Enfeeble. Probably one of the more underrated abilities in Dota. And
probably underrated because they changed it so much nobody knows what it does.
That's right. But it does have that healing reduction, so very strong against both Timber and DK. And I believe, that works on the Faceless Void Time Walk as well, healing reduction.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, I mean, geez, if you have your cast range reduced on that ability, it's already real short. Can you even jump if that's on you? As Faceless Void? Like,
what do you mean, can you jump?
Like, it reduced the cast range by a static amount, right? Let me look. It's 30%. Never mind. It's
yeah, I was gonna say I don't think it can just literally make it melee or anything.
Well, then why is it? I think the Tinker one's a static amount. I'm pretty sure the Tinker one's a static amount.
The Matrix or whatever.
Jesus, I don't remember what it's called.
All right,
Nobody gets that.
We do this for a living, by the way.
Yeah.
So Quinn 14-2, Esk 8-4. This is very early, but I mean, last game we looked at this quite early, and Quinn was dominating as the DK. So we'll see how it transpires. But do you think that this is a good TA game on the on Quincy Crew's side? Because he said they can't go late game theoretically, according to Quinn.
Yeah.
May or may not be true. But is this a game that TA can snowball into what they want before Faceless Void takes off?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's a gang.
They have the stun lock. No illusory orb to work with, and Quinn is looking super dead. Pops the Fairy Fire, but to no avail. At the very least, the silver lining is that Alex is the one that takes that first blood, but that brings Esk back into the mid lane and should have a slight advantage going forward now.
Man, Alex has been the absolute MVP for Wildcard in this series so far. I feel like he's playing incredibly well. As the nice thing about having a Timber as your off lane is that you can just leave, and he doesn't care. Once he's level 3, you get that level 2 in reactive armor plus a bracer. There's very little you can do to kill him unless you have some, you know, Batrider or Leshrac, you know, some very high magic damage type hero. And even those heroes like are not even going to kill Timber at this point. He just feels invulnerable unless he really messes up.
So on the other side, what do you think of the Faceless Void as the carry? We're going to see the time dilation to start. Getting drained a bit, but we'll time walk away. I mean, they do have the Mortimer's Kisses. Obviously, even Chakram inside the Chrono is pretty strong.
Yeah.
So they do have good setup, which that's the first thing that I look for, at least. But what else is good about this pick?
There's also like heroes that would otherwise be very difficult to catch. And that's, you know, Puck. Heroes where time dilation is really strong against them, which is like all of Quincy's heroes, essentially. Even Death Prophet, like bursting her before she gets her ultimate off. Killing TA, where she can't just refraction and then blink out because of the, you know, taking 0 damage, and so you have the blink available. So it's a very good Faceless Void game, but the laning is tough for him. Death Prophet has a lot of damage over time, and obviously, you know, Faceless Void hero is very good against burst damage. Prefers not to play into these damage over time type heroes in the lane. Even just ranged heroes in general kind of dump on Void. Could you just slowly hit him and he time walks? And it's like, okay, well now he doesn't have time walk up, and it's not like your auto attack is on cooldown, right? So very, very tough. Well, tough lane for him, but he's doing fine. Oh, never mind, he's dead.
14 seconds on time walk. MSS attempting to chase. Starbreaker's off though, so Eve might be okay. Crypt Swarm, they're not going to go for the blind one. So Eve walks away, but with very little HP.
Actually, 2 damage over time abilities in that lane. Dawnbreaker also.
Yeah, true.
Then again, you know, she does use it, and then you can time jump away from most of the damage at least.
Time jump? That would be a new skill. That could be a new skill.
Whatever.
That would be like Zeus and Time Walk combined. Like Zeus's little jump.
I feel like there are things that like people say all the time in clubs. Have you heard people call Ricky Stealth Assassin?
Yeah, Essay.
Yeah.
That's from Dota 1, Essay.
Yeah. Some of them are just like mispronunciations of spells, or just getting the name wrong entirely.
Like what?
Well, I can't think of any but time jump now.
I've never heard anybody say time jump. That's probably just you.
Oh, do you ever hear people say meat hook? It's always pudge hook.
Oh, you're sure. That's a shortened version, kind of.
Well, it's not a shortened version.
I mean, it's an easier to remember. As Impale is going to connect, and the Dragon Tail to follow, but there's the Nightmare counteracting it. Cookie trying to get the kill onto Quinn. Breathe Fire's there as well, but they're going to turn this around, it looks like. And Quinn gets the better of this exchange. That's 2 dead. Both Alex and Sammy Boy.
Amazing counter rotation from Fada, and also Quinn. He dodged the Carapace by like waning rifting into that like little low ground area in the mid lane. So otherwise, I think he just dies. That's a lot of juicy creeps actually.
Yeah, I mean 2 levels of hammer's not enough for him to do that himself. Obviously, just in position 4 anyway. But that would be something for Quincy Crew to try and take in the near future. As Eve going for, looks like Mask of Madness into Maelstrom, so nothing too crazy.
I like the Wildcard does that, by the way. They always stack for Divide Llama when he's on Timber, and they like play him as more of a carry. I think this hero, it actually makes a lot of sense to take stacks on him because he's like a threshold-based hero where if you have like 1 extra bracer on the enemy team in terms of like they don't have a damage item to deal with that, you survive at 10% HP. You get another item, you survive at 20% HP. You get to the point where you're unkillable, right?
Yep, Yawara's going to potentially get caught out here. Divide Llama, Chakram takes off that refraction pretty quickly. They're expecting some TPs, which didn't really come. They're not going to pursue any further. Quinn just hiding in the trees now. Still has that coil available to work with. And he is a level behind S. The TP coming in. Dragon Form is popped. Quinn gets off the coil. Yawar now walking his way to try to take this pesky DK out. Exorcism popped as well, but you can see Divide Llama trying to keep them at bay, but Leslau doing so much damage to both Alex and Esk. And that is going to be a wasted Dragon Form in the end. That's going to be on cooldown when he's up, and Quincy Crew can do a lot of damage to this tier 1.
This is one of those games where you look at the Wildcard lineup and the Quincy lineup, and there's kind of like counters going both ways, where, you know, you have, Faceless Void versus the TA, you have the DK versus the Puck. And then you can look at Lelis's hero, and he's just good against like all of the Wildcard heroes basically. Like all 3 cores of Wildcard will all die to a Death Prophet Silence plus all of her damage. Like Timber's not survivable through that. As you can see there, DK's not survivable through that. Whereas like these heroes in other games, they do become strong enough to the point where like other heroes will not kill them, right? Like sometimes at DK, it feels like if you just have physical damage, you're never killing that guy. As long as he didn't feed in the laning stage, he just never dies. But that's not going to happen with Death Prophet on the other side.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, she can always kill a hero.
You are taking some stacks here, and I believe, if I look at the mini-map, that both Sammy Boy and Divine Llama ready to take these stacks in their jungle. So this will provide Divine Llama with a lot of farm. And you're right, this is kind of like a way to... I mean, Divine Llama is kind of position 1 for like the next few minutes, especially after this stack. So he's going to have to create a lot of space for his Void to get back into fighting shape. And same with the DK as well.
That puts him in the lead, though, taking a stack. Like I said, I love that they do this. I think they're the team to look at in NA for really understanding Timber. As Bane has that advanced night vision, so he does catch the Nyx.
Yeah, Fata. Oh, this will be an easy kill. Just trying to not have to use Fiend's Grip. And it looks like it was the correct choice. It's Quinn now. Getting credit for that kill. And Esk with the Dragon Form. Tier 1 towers in their sights, but you can see the defense being mounted by Quincy. Already 2 TPs. You are trying to bait them in. Divine Llama gets gripped though, and here comes MSS. Big silence to follow. Starbreaker's there as well. You can see all that damage coming out from that Spirit Siphon. There's not enough for Divine Llama to go down with that hood. Very, very tanky. And even Eva's here. Posturing with his Chronosphere. He's going to find 2, and there's the Chakram with the Mortimer's Kisses from the long range. 2 kills for Wildcard and the Tier 1. That's the way to get back into this game and take the lead, in fact.
That's exactly why they give Divide a stack. Like, if he doesn't have a hood there, he doesn't survive that. Also, the fact that he's so damn good at this Timbersaw hero, just mechanically, like chaining across the ravine like that, there's so much distance if you're not a hero that has Timber Chain. You have to go in order to catch up to him. So it's like the grip from Fado was great. Like, he didn't use a bottom lane, and so he could use it on Timber, but the Vi is just too huge, and he understands his thresholds. He knows what he can survive through. And Timber Chain's like just at the right place that he can survive. I mean, this is why teams ban Timber on him. It's just, he's mechanically so strong with the hero. Sets up for this amazing Chronosphere.
Boom, boom, boom. Disgusting. Of course, he would have been happy with one of those kills, but he gets none of them.
Yeah, that you should really reward a core player for that. Some positive motivation.
Yeah. You don't want him to break his items.
No, as we actually
today.
see, yeah, that's what happened. Not a core player, though,
that's
surprisingly.
True. And Divide TPing top to try to mount a bit of a defense here. More TPs coming, in fact. And we'll see if they're able to stop Quincy Crew. They're here in pretty big numbers, and Quinn, I mean, if they find Sammy Boy, that's not exactly who they would want to get with this many heroes here, but they'll take it, and likely the Tier 1 tower will be next.
Lelis has his full vessel, so Timber, DK, these heroes have to be very careful. 2 types of percentage damage, magical damage, peeling through the armor, and then healing reduction. Like, all of these heroes can die. Quincy Crew's not feeling too bad about this game. I think if Lelis doesn't have a vessel and instead he went for something like a Yule's, it would start getting to the point where Device feels unkillable. But that's not going to be the case here because of the itemization from Lelis.
Yeah, and then on the other side for Wildcard, you have Eve, who had a bunch of stuff lined up that he's not going for now. So instead of Mask of Madness, Maelstrom, BKB, it's a Midas, which we did see today on the mid Void, and it was quite atrocious. I mean, that's how it ended up, so obviously it's going to look bad if you lose, but what do you think of the Midas? Is this, I mean, they're already up, so this, in theory, could work out really well for him.
Yeah, you know, I think a Battle Fury would be like a little too grief, like a little too slow, and I mean, it is a hero that benefits from the attack speed of the Midas. There are some heroes like Pudge, for example, that would love the XP and that would love the gold.
And the attack speed is great on Pudge.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, you're right. That's exactly what I was going to say. It's a
Why
bit,
is Pudge always the comparison?
well, I don't know. That's a good question. I have no answer.
Gwent, waning rift. Vaata's here as well. Sammy Boy just wants to get the D ward, even a coil exclusion.
All right. Well, he's probably pretty happy with the coil being used.
Yep, indeed. And now the jump in, DK. Dragon form, Dragon tail. But Vaata looks like he'll be the sacrifice. So position 5 is down for both teams. And now Quinn is going to have to get out of dodge, not having that coil to work with. He will be okay. So Lotus Orb is going to be the first main item for Vylama, which is a really, really good Lotus game. And to the point where it's actually just needed.
Yep.
Lots of silence. Obviously, you talked about the Spirit Vessel.
Lots of healing. Yeah, healing reduction. You can purge in both Enfeeble and the Spirit Vessel. That's necessary.
I was thinking he might even go BKB, but I guess that's... I mean, it would be a bit unusual for Timbersaws. Leslau, Dragon Tail. Yep, that is a Tango. Not going to help him here, though. Poor Tango will be left on the floor probably the whole game. We have to keep our eye on that one just to make sure.
Well, who dropped that?
I don't know. Those things are a hot commodity these days. The stocks have, I feel like, kind of turned the tide on health salves. They're not loved anymore. Quincy Crew down 3K. I mean, you talked about Quinn's quote that TA doesn't fare too well late game against Void. But what about the comeback potential of their lineup if they're down at this point? Is this something that they still feel comfortable
they're not too far down. Yeah, it's like, I mean,
3K is pretty big.
Yeah, well, we saw that last game too, and
yeah, true.
You know,
but they're playing more aggressive. Wow.
They are. Yeah, no, they're clearly very much so in their comfort zone with this Divide Llama Timbersaw.
Yep, Quinn on the high ground. He gets the coil off. Starbreaker's there, though. Looks like Sammy Boy's going to be the first to fall. The coil ends up snapping Esk. That's 2 dead right off the bat, and Quincy Crew trying to chase more. And the grip onto Divide Llama. Do they have enough damage to follow this up with? I would hope so with this many in numbers. Double kill for Quinn. So just as I say, can they come back in this game? Wildcard gifts them that. And now we have Roche #1, which likely will go to Quincy Crew now.
I think Sam was up here placing a ward, and so he gets caught out. So there's no Mortimer's Kisses to come in, which I think is a pretty big deal. Because otherwise they could do some Chrono Mortimer's Kisses, right? Like killing the support right at the start is very important.
Yeah.
It's one of those reasons you see a lot of teams now giving a ward to like a core if you're going to walk on the high ground.
Alex! They don't see him! Oh my god, he could have taken it, but he did not, and he's just going to die instead. Oh man, that was so close, and now we have a Nightmare set up, and this is just getting out of control for Wildcard. This feels like just dominoes dropping left, right, and center as Quincy Crew taking control of the game.
That is a play. Can somebody tip this man?
Dominoes dropping left, right, and center.
Yeah, that's right. That's how dominoes work. Esk. Oh boy, this is going to be a very impactful kill. Inside that coil, still Starbreaker connect.
Get them both.
And he is going to drop again just after respawning.
No.
And Wildcard, if this is just like the... Oh my god!
Okay.
That's the most blurst version I've seen.
It's always him. What?
Holy jeez. It looked like an ear was coming out of his nose.
Yeah.
That was something to fear.
That might have been right. Oh my god!
It's even worse.
Good lord, Pinocchio.
Ugh.
Scuffed Pinocchio.
So this is where it feels kind of bad to have a Midas on Eve, I would think. Because now you're not really ready to fight.
I mean, you got damage. Like, okay, I didn't even know that was the same picture. I thought it was something different.
Vaata, he's dead. So Wildcard, you can see that they're trying to play a little bit more aggressive. As Eve, we'll have a time walk most of that off.
Yeah, man, I do think Wildcard, like, if they, I mean, it's just about using the Chrono where they have these damage dealers outside of the Chrono. That's all.
True. That's true.
Like, they have options. It's just that it's not really played out that way in the team fights. Quincy's just playing the fights a lot better. Like, they're catching out, 2 heroes before the fight starts and killing them. Then all of a sudden, like, obviously, of course it's going to look really easy to win that fight when you're down so many heroes.
And still 3 minutes to go on the Aegis. You are going to get this haste rune.
To the temple's defense.
And we'll see what they're able to do with the time that they have now on this Aegis of Immortality. Alex denying a...
I like this. when you know that the enemy team
Are scanning.
knows that there's vision somewhere, just denying it so they don't get the gold. That's something not enough people.
How impactful
do.
is that, though, at
Pretty
this stage of the game?
I mean, bro, I'm telling you, supports, they get so much gold from that. It's like a... As Alex
Quinn,
walks in.
Alex, yep, he gets off the spike carapace, but nobody's biting. And they're going to try to turn this around on him instead, and they do so successfully. So another kill for Quincy crew. You are, obviously, with the Desto Dragon Lance. Going for the BKB next, so pretty cookie cutter from him. And for Quinn, he's had the blink now. He'll go along with the Witchblade, and looks like Lincoln Sphere is what he's opting for.
Pretty
So
reasonable.
The Dragon Tail.
Yeah.
Does that block Impale?
No, not anymore.
It used to.
Yeah, I think it used to.
And it's probably been years since that. We're going to see the double Nightmare thanks to the Lotus Orb. This will be a turnaround onto the Bane, but Yawar, okay, he's going to get Nightmare now. Has to be careful. He's actually going to drop here, but that is just the Aegis. Solar Guardian coming in with that Chronosphere used, but again, they're just going to find the Nyx Assassin right off the bat. And Yawar not too scared of dying because his team is going to be here for his revival. But it looks like Wildcard are just going to be okay taking out that Aegis, but it's still a 2-for-1 in Quincy Crew's favor.
Yeah, I mean, they take the Aegis on Wildcard. Like, you can see what the potential is for their team fighting. They're pretty strong as long as they, you know, get into the fight without losing a bunch of heroes right at the start. It's just a matter of, like, you know, Quincy at that point, they had an Aegis to work with, so killing Yawar there is not like, it's not like this hero dying without, you know, without an Aegis, where she can't respawn, where you can translate that into killing the rest of Quincy crew, where, like, that actually could have been a team wipe. So the earlier kind of mistakes from Wildcard are causing problems for them in the late game here, the mid game, rather.
And the Exorcism was popped to do a little bit of damage to the tier 2, but...
God, that spell sucks against towers now.
Yeah. I mean, that was too good, though, before, so it's probably better to be like this. But Lelis, you talked about the Spirit Vessel. He's working on a BKB pretty close, actually. Just a few hundred away from the recipe. And I think for Wildcard, it's really about these Chronospheres.
Yeah.
They do have all that set up, but we haven't really... I mean, we've seen a little bit, but they need a lot more of that to contest Quincy Crew. As I mean, it's going to come down to that second Roche probably, which we've seen so many times.
Yeah, I mean, both teams are pretty okay fighting around the Roche pit. You know, Death Prophet ult flying around. It's really nice to be in these, like, small, congested areas. Chronosphere, same thing. Coil, same thing. TA's got the traps to work with, so... Yeah, both teams are definitely, like, eyeing that second Roche on.
I think Quincy Crew will take Roche faster, though, so that's something that Wildcard has to be careful of.
Yeah, that's definitely true. If you're, and also, Wildcard is dire, which means they're positioning towards a spot area, which means they're far away from the Roshan pit, which is always an issue.
Imagine that alternating spawning Roche. Imagine, top and bottom.
That would be...
It's gonna happen, I'm calling it. I've been calling it for 10 years, eventually I'll be right, but my goodness, Quinn just gets dropped. 50 seconds of no puck. And they're gonna get a residual kill here on MSS. So Wildcard showing some life.
That's like 1,000 gold for Devi.
Yeah, that is, I mean, that was a kill streak, so.
I think he's got his full Heaven's Halberd coming out, which is going to be very effective versus TA going late because she's a ranged hero, so you get that extended duration. And he's building into an eventual Blink Dagger and a Sheep. So Devi, he's got his eyes set on these big items. Blink Sheep, I mean, I love this build. I think you have a lot of like pick-off potential with this. The Sheep actually sets up for all of your damage really nicely, where it feels like otherwise people would just be able to get away from you as Timber. You know, it's like, please stand at my chakram. But with the Sheep, you can actually, you know, force them to.
Is that how he sounds?
That's exactly how he sounds. You know, Timbersaw's actually the robot, not the little guy inside of it.
What? What are you talking about?
It's an AI, and the guy inside of it.
That's a lie.
He's just his friend. He's just a goblin that he...
You're thinking of Alchemist.
Oh, I was thinking of Alchemist. You're right.
I can't tell if you're pulling my leg right now.
No, that's real, dude.
Dota 1 name was Rizrak.
Huh. Of Alchemist.
No, Timbersaw.
Oh, I see.
I don't know what Alchemist's name was in Dota 1, actually.
A little idiot.
Yeah, he's very smart, actually. The ogre's the idiot.
No, that's what I was talking about. That's the ogre's name.
Oh, little idiot.
Yeah.
It's ironic, I see.
Tower is under attack.
Like tiny.
Yeah, but he's got a huge stick that he throws at people.
That's right. That's right. Makes
Very,
one
very
of us.
even game. Stop looking at me. Why do you look at me while we cast? Like, there's no point.
You do
Just
it.
look at the screen, okay?
Wait, Sam,
Watch the
continue.
game.
You're gonna say something.
I had nothing to say.
Okay.
I was telling you to stop looking at me.
All right.
That's what I was gonna say.
Looking at this game. Calm down a bit.
Yeah. I mean, this is a good opportunity for Wildcard, though. Not too far out of reach. Hopefully they don't have that defeatist mentality.
Yeah.
Game
No,
one, right?
for sure. I
Surely they know they're in the game.
Yeah, I think you know, I've hope for them just because they're, you know, this Timber is their most picked, most comfortable hero. Surely, like, this is the game where they're comfortable. Like, Devi is so confident in himself on this hero that he can, like, if his team's got nerves, he can solve them.
Yep, true. And I think that what they're waiting for is this BKB on Eve, which is now being delivered. So we'll see if that's actually the case. Lotus Orb takes off that Spirit Vessel charge on Devi. Leslau ends up getting that Exorcism off, and they're just going to blow up Alex right off the bat. The Chronosphere, but the instant Fiend's Grip on the BKB Eve. That is not what you want to see if you are a Wildcard fan. And now the Coil expended onto the Dragon Knight, and Quincy crew are winning this fight big time. But the question is, how many kills will they actually get? Looks like it might only be 2, so with that, you have to count your lucky stars. This could have been so much worse for Wildcard. But it'll be a tier 2 at the very least. And we'll see if Quincy crew can expand on this any further.
Yeah, that was an insanely impactful grip. That was basically, I think that saved Yawar. I think otherwise Yawar probably dies to the Faceless Void Chrono. It is at the point where Void does very well against the TA. Like, he can use the time dilation, that peels off the refraction. The Maelstrom procs, that peels off the refraction. If he hits a time lock, that can peel off like 4 refraction charges all at once. So, like, Yawar's dead if that grip doesn't come out. Period. He's dead.
And perfect time. That seems like a very fast spawn for this second Roche. So Shard will drop. Lelis already has Shard, surprisingly, so this is almost certainly going to Yawar. So the silence for the traps.
Oh yeah, that's
the
important.
high ground hitter as well.
Especially with BKB being nerfed, like, there are going to be periods here where, you know, Eve even having the BKB, if you can catch him with a silence on one of the traps near the end of a fight, he just goes down.
And SS gets off that dust.
That's a nice, very nice Lotus off the dust there. That's
Now
a
a
huge
Lincoln
pain.
Sphere on Quinn. We'll see how that works out for him. Very aggressive Blink build. Is there a Shard on... yeah, so Sammy Boy going for the Blink shotgun kind of build on the Snapfire. So Scatterblast is going to absolutely own. Of course, you have to be careful with the way that it works with Chronosphere potentially griefing you. Actually, it's counter-synergistic, right? Because it shoots them away at an angle that makes it harder to get the Chrono off.
I mean, that's a very small counter synergy. I don't know if that's... Say, oh, I don't know about getting this Shard.
Watch it happen.
Counter
All right, we have the coil. He's actually going to snap it. The DK's in a little bit of trouble, but you can see the stun onto Yawar in the backline, but he still has that Aegis to work with. And Leslau pops the BKB. Full grip on the Timber Saw as S gets cookied the high ground. Looks like he's going to survive as a result. Devi Llama, though. All right, the Lotus, the double Nightmare to follow, but Leslau does get the kill on Sammy Boy. MSS not able to finish off the Timber Saw, though, so again, a lot of fighting and just not a lot of kills.
Quincy, they're being a little bit greedy, going for like multiple targets in this fight, and Wildcard, they're doing a really good job at getting heroes out. I think they could have probably turned for the Timber there, but anyway, going back to the counter synergistic.
Yeah, I mean, you can talk about the counter synergy of Psyblades against a Nyx Assassin.
Oh, that's
Maybe
right.
just don't level it because it's Spike Carapace.
True, that's a really good point. You'll off 1 refraction charge. Carapace return.
It's good stuff.
Sam has been quite effective with the build though. Like he's been setting up a lot of kills in the mid game. I think the early game there's a few walking up high grounds and dying and space creation from him, but after that point he actually started being very impactful in the team fights.
Well, it's a full smoke from Wildcard. 9K lead though for Quincy crew. We'll see if they are ready for this. Although they're not really even crossing the river, so was that just a warding expedition? Yeah, potentially.
I don't know. I mean, I guess so. It's timing out.
And the Dragon Tail come out. Instant stun onto the Bane. Now here's the Chronosphere. Doesn't have to worry about the Fiend's Grip, so focusing just on Quinn, but the Solar Guardian, is that enough to keep him alive? The heals were pretty substantial, and it looks like Quinn's going to be fine, at least for now. MSS trying to get back to the high ground, but the double kill from Divine Llama. He ends up taking out Quinn, but there's the Fiend's Grip after the buyback from Fata, but Eve is perfectly fine. Will attempt to TP out, but the burst from that TA just out of control, and now Divine Llama on the run. Nightmare, that is some long-ass range with that Aether Lens. Do they have the damage to actually kill him? I don't know.
They can kite him until Lelis gets off the high ground.
Yeah, that's very possible, but there's the blink.
There he goes. Wrong way.
Looks like he's fine.
Yeah.
So ends up being a 3 for 3 with the buyback coming from Fata.
Yeah,
but the big kills are essentially the Quinn for Eve. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like the Eve getting that Chronosphere onto. I think he chronoed Quinn to kill him. I would imagine that he did. I think it was off camera, but chronoing Quinn, who barely survived because of the Dawn ult. That's a very, very important kill because we've seen the coil into Death Prophet Fear snapping of the coil. That's been pretty impactful in the fights.
Yeah.
Divine Llama also almost saved his carry by halberding during the Fiend's Grip. But Yoar just does too much damage, so Eve just dies right afterwards anyway. But yeah, Fata's been playing out of his mind with these grips.
Yep.
I feel like all of his grips have been full duration and on like the most important target in a team fight.
Of course, that was after he died. Had to buy back to do that.
That's true. He died first. Yeah, he started the fight by dying.
That's what makes a good support, knowing you have enough to just die and buy back and have a huge impact. As oh boy, Quinn getting healed again from MSS. Because I can't speak because Sammy Boy's just belching fire everywhere. And for Quinn, he's going to be A-okay. Leslout chasing continually, but there's a spike carapace. Eve. Doesn't look like the time dilation hit as Yawar comes in for the one tap and Alex is dead. And now they're in their base. Exorcism freshly popped. And Quincy crew looking to finish this series 2-0.
Dude, that's actually next level. Putting the courier there. He was going for the gem, but theoretically, I'm pretty sure the courier soaks up the ghosts, but doesn't take damage from them. So technically, if you put 5 couriers in front of a tower, Death Prophet is nullified. But then you lose.
Why wouldn't it hit the courier? It's physical damage.
I don't know.
That's a weird one.
Ask Ice Frog.
Okay.
If that is his real name. He still exists. If he ever existed.
I mean, surely somebody in the world changed their name, their actual name to Ice Frog, right? Surely. Somebody.
Why would anybody?
There's a lot of psychopaths.
That's right. That's true. I know.
If I found out in your birth certificate you changed it to Ice Frog, I actually wouldn't be surprised, legitimately.
Mine?
Yeah. Would not be surprised at all.
That's identity theft.
Illusion.
For who?
Steal identity.
Technically, he's stealing your identity because your official name would be Ice Frog.
That's true, actually.
Yeah, 11K lead for Quincy crew as we're discussing very important topics in this very important game for Wildcard. They need to get some wins. I mean, if they lose this, they're going to be bottom 3, I think. I don't know, actually.
Or bottom 3? No, they'll be like 4th or 5th again.
No, not 4th. Not 4th. They would be the bottom 4, but like if you continue to lose, you obviously run the risk of going to Div 2. Of course, they have had a pretty difficult schedule thus far. They kind of got the short end of the stick for the most part.
Somebody's got to get that end.
Yep, true. Divine Llama, the Halberd, Lotus, Blink. He's very hard to kill. I mean, right now it feels like they are kind of just trying to segregate him from the group, maybe get a Nightmare off and then focus somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah, you
go kind of hard to do in these team fights.
You can see that Quincy is not going for him. Like Lelis and second to last fight.
A prize.
Just runs straight past him even though he's being gripped and goes for the back lines and tries to kill Esk, who is also running away. Like they've just identified that ignore this guy. Like ignore this Timber and he's not going to do anything, which has not been the case in a lot of these fights. Devi's been also recognizing this and still having big impact. But the question is, like, if Quincy was focusing him, maybe because he's so high net worth, like he's actually doing very well. He's top net worth on his team. Maybe they don't kill him, and it goes a lot worse for Quincy. Because focusing a Timber, it can be one of the biggest debates in Dota.
That is true, but they do have a good lineup against them.
That's also true.
If they're grouped up.
Right, that is also true.
And now we have a smoke from Wildcard. The next Roche, we won't know for 5 seconds how long it's going to be as the smoke is popped. Leslie with the Blink Dagger gets off the Exorcism and the BKB. Eve gets gripped on the sideline. He's not going to be able to get any chrono off, but does have buyback. We'll see if he uses it. As Esk looks to be the next target, and he gets Nightmare, so that's a cancellation of the TP and no buyback for him. So we'll see if Quincy Crew are able to go high ground now as a result. Double kill for Leslie. There's the Courier again. This time, not able to get the gem.
That was just sick positioning.
This might be the beginning of the end.
Yeah, that was just like really good presence of mind, knowing that there's a smoke coming there, and also it blinking in, getting the 2 or 3 man silence, instantly draining like 3 heroes. So even if they do chrono him there, he's not dying. Not when he's BKB, not when he's draining that many heroes. He'll survive through the chrono. So Eve really felt like he had no option. And then Eve ends up going down because of another great grip from Fada.
Yeah, they finally forced the buyback onto Eve, who still has the chrono. And, I mean, they do have all their combos up at the very least. So, chrono with Mortimers and Chakram. Something to fear, and here we go. Eve gets off the chrono onto 2. Here comes the Solar Guardian, though that is counteracting a lot of this damage. They do find the Bane, but it's going to cost them potentially everybody. Yawar blinks to the other side. Starbreaker connects. Devi Lama trying to limp away, but it's not to be. Does have buyback himself. Samuel gets off the Scatter Blast, but yeah, this is one step away from a victory here for Quincy Crew, who will likely remain undefeated as a result.
It's cool what Quincy does in both of these games, looking to like do this economic damage by going prone and forcing the buybacks. Like you can tell that in both games they have reservations about actually committing to the throne.
Now we have a coil onto Ask. A nice Scatter Blast though from the sides from Sammy Boy. But do they have enough damage to follow this up with? Quinn ends up phase shifting. Yawar's in a lot of trouble. No Aegis or anything, and this looks to be a kill for Wildcard. Did cost them the buyback onto Devi, so Quincy Crew is going to have to just reset.
Quincy Crew kind of sticking around a little bit too long. No BKB on Yawar. Timbersaw, very good at peeling through the refraction charges once he has that flamethrower. Obviously plenty of damage through the, once the BKB is down, a lot of pure damage to also kill the TA. Yeah, Quincy, they're really trying to stay on like the, they're really trying to pressure Wildcard as much as they can in this game. And it costs
Bata is found, so Wildcard able to secure themselves a couple kills as Leslie is in very deep. Oh, this is his own triangle, but that's a lot of members of Wildcard. Now Leslie completely outnumbered, but Eve has to be careful. Solar Guardian is there. Eve has to backtrack back out. See how much they actually want to reset. As you can see, not much mana on Devi right now. And they should be able to finish him off. Although there is a Wraithfire Pact. Wraith Pact, what the hell it's called. Devi Lama, TP's out in the midst of things. Now, third Roche is available. And with these TPs and so much on cooldown, this might open up Quincy Crew's ability to take this once Yawar actually respawns. Imagine Wraithfire Pact is the upgrade to Wraith Pact. Where when it dies, the Wraithfire goes off.
Yeah, honestly, you're right. I think that item's a little too weak right now. I'm not tired of that item yet. I want to see more Wraith Pact.
What if it could be like the next Dagon. Each time you upgrade, it's like 10 upgrades for it, right? Just something new happens.
I'm down for that. I think there should be an item in Dota that if you spend like 50,000 gold upgrading it, you just instantly win. And all 9 other players lose, including your team.
Oh, okay. So how does that work in tournaments?
It's the Exodia. I mean, if you're in TI, you just keep all the money yourself.
Oh, man. That sounds like a dream.
Yeah. Yeah, for you, because you got second place, so.
That's fine with me. I'll take that any day. If I could actually keep the prize pool this time. That'd be good. Yeah, that was bad.
Speaking of life's biggest regrets, looks like Wildcard is regretting.
Yes, finish that.
I had nothing. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, not too far off. Yeah. Well, they've come back, and they're trying to go for this third Roshan. But there is now a smoke from Quincy crew. This Roche has Aghanim Scepter available. Here comes the Illusory Orb, but Wildcard able to get out of the pit. You are. No refraction charge. There's the big stun from S. Can they follow it up? Mortimer's Kisses is there, and there's the Chronosphere. Solar Guardian try to counteract it, but it's not enough. But there's the buyback, and they know that Chronosphere is on cooldown. So they'll be very secure in going for this coil onto 2. Looks like the Nyx is going to be the first to fall. And now they're just focusing completely on Divine Llama. Well, the cookie keeps him safe for a little bit. Spirit Vessel still applied, though, and now Quinn able to finish him off. And Quincy crew likely finishing the game here. Not even sure if they need to take the third Roche, but they probably will just to be safe. Question is, who gets the Aghanim Scepter this late into the game? Probably still Yawar, but it's not going to be that useful.
Yeah, it's not. You're right. It's not that useful. 'Cause, I mean, like, Quincy's looking to end this on the next fight, right? So I don't. He does take it.
Yeah, it's the just in case item.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I mean that's fair.
All right, he's using it already, and he goes to the top lane, but he loses Fata.
Okay, this was worth it.
Yep,
This
they're not
actually
going to
was worth it.
expect it. Aghanim Scepter out of nowhere. S, and the 4-step coming to play for Yawar. Down goes S.
We should have not questioned the judgment of these players. That was absolutely worth it. This is going to force Esk to buy back now if he wants to defend this top barracks, which he does. So it's a 4v4, but it is without DK form. Only 19 seconds though left on that.
Yeah, well, 19 seconds is a full lane of racks if they don't defend. But they can't go for Megas, so Quincy crew, if they're going to stay, will have to go for the throne. As, Quinn's courier got killed, which had that full Octarine core on it, by the way.
That's a bit rough.
Yeah, but the tier 4 is now taken out, but there's the Blink Dagger. Oh, the coil, gonna miss. Bet he wish he had that Octarine core right about now. As Eve jumping in. I don't think they're going to be able to do too much. Chronosphere not up for 20 seconds. Oh, huge impale from Alex. I'm making this more exciting than it really is because they're about to get stopped. Buck. Okay, they get Quinn, but the BKBs, Solar Guardians coming. They can't quite finish the throne. Yawar has to try to focus on some heroes now, but that Chronosphere is going to be up any second now. MSS with the time dilation is slow to a crawl, but there's the grip from Fata, and that is when the GGs are called by Sammy Boy. So Quinn and Quincy crew take this 2-0.